So what we want to show you today are the basic specs of binoculars. So what's the binocular for? It's for looking far away, but you may notice that different binoculars have different specs. So you can see that we have an 8x56 here, but what does it mean? Here we have an 8-time magnification, so the first number is for the magnification. That can be 8 times, that can be 10 times, or 12 times, or even more. The second number, which you see all the time, is the objective diameter. So that is the diameter on this side. So where the light is coming in. So why this is important specs? These are just two very important, most important features and specs you have to know. First, the magnification is important because sometimes you want to have a great overview. So better using a binocular with a lower magnification. A lower magnification creates a bigger field of view. The field of view, for example, is how much you can see from the right to the left. And that's probably important if you're watching birds, for example. You want to have a bigger overview. But if you want to have more detailed view, then you probably need a higher magnification. So that sometimes makes sense to have an 8-time and sometimes a bigger magnification. So the second big number which we have to talk about is the objective diameter, which is over here. So that means if the objective diameter here is 56 millimeter, for example, it's a quite big diameter, but this means also you get a lot of light through your binocular to your eyes. So it is important that sometimes you have a bigger diameter, but this means you can also look longer in twilight or into the night because you have more light coming to your eyes. The other important specs is, for example, the eye cups. You can see here we have two different types of eye cups. First, we have a twist up, which is more comfortable. The second is we have a foldable eye cups. But why it is the case to fold down or to twist down the eye cups? The reason is simple. If you're having glasses, or you have to use glasses, you simply twist in the binocular twist ups, or you fold it down, because your eyes or your glass is already have a little bit distance to your eyes, so you not really need to twist up it. That makes it possible to see the full field of view. So if you use glasses, just fold it down. If you not use glasses, like me, just twist it up or keep it like it is. So then you have the right distance to your eyes. Here we have two different types of binoculars. On the left side we have a poro prism binocular, and on the right side we have a roof prism binocular. So what's the main difference? Probably you can see it quite easy. Here we have a wide binocular, which is a little bit shorter. And on the right side we have a roof prism binocular, which is very slim, a little bit higher. So what's the main difference is, here we have a very slim, nice for transporting binocular. Of course, this is a 56 millimeter binocular, which is quite big. But we have the same binocular, for example, which is quite small, and it's the same style, also roof binocular. And we have a poro prism binocular. So there's different types of prism inside, but this creates a more wider built binocular. But it's very easy to hold, and you have a very hard and nice grips. So here is a roof binocular prism, and you can see with the open bridge I can hold it quite good in the hand, very good grip, and it's very easy to hold. So the main difference, of course, is the prism inside. A poro prism is more plastical picture, and with the roof prism it's more slim. So at the moment the roof prism binoculars are more famous because they are more easy to carry and better to use. So to make it more clear for you, you can see they are quite similar. But on the other side you see they are different in shape. When you get your binocular the first time, then you have to set it up to your eyes. So how to do that? It's very easy. You just have to do it once when you get it. So, for example, here you have one eye for the left eye and one for the right eye. So you have to fold it down when you look through the binocular, that you have one round picture. So not like in the videos you see on Hollywood or whatever, that you have like an 8, let's say. That's wrong. So have a round picture. That's very important. And when you set it up to this round picture, you have to make the adjustment to your eyes. So why is this important? Because one eye normally is stronger and the other eye is a little bit less strong. So it's very important to make a setting. And of course all the Bresser binoculars has the option to make the setting. So normally on the right side you can turn around this ring. How to make the setting? It's very easy. You look through this binocular and close your right eye. Then you make the adjustment on the focus. And you turn it around until you get a sharp picture. Once you have the sharp picture, you close your left eye. And then you look through the right tube. And then use this ring to make the settings. And until you have the sharp picture, then your binocular is set up to your eyes. Keep it as it is. Or remember it. If you have, probably you use it with your wife or your friends, then just have in mind what the position of the ring is. Normally we have an indicator dot here and you can approximately know where it's set up. So it's very easy. If you use your binocular just by your own, you make the setting once and then it's done. It doesn't matter if you change distance or not. It's always set to your eyes. Once the setting is done, you're just using the focus wheel to make a sharp picture. Probably you want to look to a closer object, turn it around, and it's still setting to your eyes. So that's very important to do that once, because otherwise you probably have on one side a sharp picture, but on the other side an unsharp picture. So the picture you're looking at is not perfect and it could be better. So have in mind when you get a binocular, make the setting right from the beginning. It's same on the other binoculars. If you use a poro binocular or roof binocular, it doesn't matter. Always is the same. Of course, sometimes you have a special binocular, like this marine binocular. You don't have a center focus, like this. You just have individual focus on your eyes. So this is very easy. Normally for the marine binoculars, this is the only way we use it. At Bresser, yes, we just have individual focus for marine binoculars. And why you use individual focus? It's very easy. A center focus you sometimes touch, but you don't want to touch it. For a marine binocular, you simply look far away, because on the sea, normally what you want to look at it is far away. So it's not easy to make settings which you not really want. So we use individual focus. You make a setting once time, 70 meters and to infinity, then it's sharp. It's same on this. Normally all between 0 and 70 meters you have to make adjustment, but after 70 meter it's infinity sharp. So after 70 meters you don't have to make settings. It doesn't matter if you look 70 meters or 150 meters, always sharp. So that's the difference, the main difference between focusing and diopter adjustments. Now let's talk about coating. Why is coating important? So the coating is here, hopefully you can see it. It's here is violet and on the other side here it's green. First it doesn't matter if it's green or it's violet, it doesn't matter. Coating is minerals which are on the surface of the lens. Why we need it? It's important to have because the surface creates that more light can pass to your eyes. And light is important because if we not get light to your eyes, you not have a picture at all. So it's very important to have as much light as possible through the binocular transfer to your eyes. So we have different coatings. First is the coating on the lens, and the second is different coating on the prism. If you have coating on the prism. That's not the case normally, but on the Bresser Condor, PhD for example, we have a special coating on the surface of the prism. And this creates to get more light to your eyes. So totally together it is very important to get as much as possible light to your eyes. And if we create more light to your eyes, you have a brighter image and you can look longer in twilight or in the night. So all this together, these are the basics. But now let's talk about the detailed specification of coating. So now I want to tell you a little bit about different coatings. So what is coating? I want to switch the binoculars for you, so to show you this a little bit more easy. Let's switch them for you. So here we have two different kinds of binocular. You see that we have booths are 42 millimeters and booths are 10 times magnification. So in fact the basic specifications are same, but the quality of the picture is different. So here we have a Condor binocular from Bresser and we have the PhD. So what is the difference? First, let's say talk about the coating, and probably I hope you can see it, that we have here a green shiny glass material, let's say, and the green material is the coating. We have it same here, but here is violet. Now we can say we have just different colors of lens, but this is not the case. In fact, we have different types of coating. We can start with a low budget binocular which have coated optics. That means one lens is coated. One lens has the minerals on the surface. The second stage of coating is multi-coated. That means at least one lens have different layers of coating, which creates that more light can pass to your eyes. And another coating is, which is probably the best coating in the beginning, is a fully multi-coated lens, or a fully multi-coated binocular. That means every lens which is used inside your binocular has at least 3 layers of minerals on the lens, on the surface. At Bresser we normally use much more layers, just to make sure that more light can pass to your eyes. So these are the basic features from the very low end, or from the entry level binoculars, which are coated binoculars. Normally at Bresser we're not using this type of coating. We're starting a little bit later with a better coating. So fully coated is normally the basic coating from Bresser, and then we go to multi-coated and fully multi-coated, as I mentioned before. So these are the basic for the front lens. So but this is an advantage for the Bresser binoculars. We're using also different coatings on the prism, which is built inside here. For example, this Condor binoculars using a UR coating, which is what means ultra reflecting coating. That creates that we can pass more light through the prism and pass it to your eye. The other option we're using at the PhD binocular, for example, is we're using a dielectric coating. The difference between these two coatings is easy to explain. Here we have one very shiny surface on the bottom of the prism before the light passes another surface. This, on the PhD binocular, we have a dielectric coating. That means we have a coating on each surface of the prism. So here it has to pass one time until it gets to the special coating, and here right away from the beginning, from the first prism entries, we transfer more light to your eye. So the PhD has a little bit slightly different, better coating, as the Condor series. The advantage, now you can think about, probably the Condor is not as good as other binoculars, but in fact the Condor also using a very special coating, and that's not a normal coating. Normally the prisms are not really coated. So if you want to have a good binocular, probably Condor can be an advantage against other binoculars, because we have the UR coating already on the prism, and here the dielectric coating, which is a little bit better because every surface passes more light to your eye. That's the main difference between the coatings. I hope it's sometimes a little bit complicated, especially coating is not very, you cannot touch it, but I hope it's a little bit understandable. On the Pirsch ED, we always talk about this ED. It's extra dispersion glass material, which means it's a very special material. It's quite high technology and high-end glass material for the optical industry. It creates that you have a true colorful picture. Let's say every light have different wavelengths, and on the normal optical glass material, sometimes you have, when you, for example, you look at a bird or a sharp edge, sometimes you have on the normal binocular, you have a blue shape around this sharp edge. With ED glass you don't have it, because you have a really true colorful picture with ED glass. Let's talk about twilight factor and brightness for binoculars. Most of the time you see these numbers when you look at specifications. What does it mean? What is twilight factor and what is brightness factor? I want to show you this on two devices. First we chose the similar series, and the twilight factor and brightness factor, you can just compare if all other specifications are same. So let's say you compare a 8x56 from a high-end binocular and a 8x56 from a low-end binocular. The twilight factor and the brightness factor is always the same. It's simple because it's a calculated factor. It's just important if you look at the same series. All other specifications are same. Then it helps you to find the right binocular. If you see, a 8x56 has a better light transmission and probably a brighter image, because simply the objective lens is bigger. And the calculation for the brightness and twilight factor is exactly this: magnification and objective diameter. These two factors are important to calculate twilight factor and brightness. So that means you can get a binocular 8x56 for €50 or for €1,000, and the twilight factor is always the same. So it's just for you interesting if you look at the same series. So a 8x56 has a better twilight factor as 8x25. Why a twilight factor and brightness factor is important if you look at the same series? It's easy, because if you have a better twilight factor or a better brightness, you can watch longer in bad light conditions. So if you want to look at the twilight, probably you should choose a 8x56 compared to a 10x56, because the lower magnification creates a brighter image. Just have in mind, a twilight factor and brightness factor is just a calculated factor. If we talk about bad light conditions, twilight factor and brightness, it's always interesting to know for what I need this binocular. So we always ask the question, what you want to do. If you have bad light conditions, for example, it's a very rainy day, it's cloudy, it's twilight, especially then animals coming out from the forest, so you probably want to use your binocular in twilight conditions. You need a binocular which creates and brings as much as possible light to your eyes. And then it's important that you use a binocular, for example, with a big objective diameter. Sometimes the question is, do you really want to use it in bad light conditions? If you want to go hiking, normally you're not going in twilight because that's very dangerous. Or it's foggy outside, probably this sometimes can happen. Then it makes sense to get a round binocular. A round binocular probably is a 8x42 binocular because you have a slightly higher objective diameter, but it's still not too big, let's say this binocular. So you can see the difference between three items. This is a traditional twilight and bad light condition binocular. 8 times magnification, a low magnification, and a big diameter. If you want to have a round binocular, all-round binocular, then you have a 42 millimeter, so it's a little bit lower diameter, but it's still a good all-round binocular for you. You can still use it in, let's say, in the beginning of twilight or in bad weather conditions, and you still have a compact binocular with you. Or you have a daylight binocular, let's say, and you use it just at daylight and probably good weather conditions, and that's the difference. All in one, we have to look at coating, glass material, and some other topics. So if we talk about coating sometimes, beginning of the video, coating also creates better light condition, better brightness of your picture. So have a look. First, magnification, objective diameter, and coating. This combination makes really good binoculars. Now we want to explain the difference between the different series we have at Bresser. Here we have 3 series selected for you. It's a Condor series, it's a Pirsch, and it's a Pirsch ED. Of course, we have a lot more series in the Bresser range, starting from the Hunter series, which is for the entry level, and then going step by step up to mid-end to high-end. So with the mid-end, we're starting with the Condor and end at the more high-end stuff, Pirsch ED. So what's the difference for you and why you want to choose a Condor or a Pirsch ED, or why you should choose a Pirsch ED? So here we have the Condor series for you. Here we have the Pirsch series and the Pirsch ED. So what's the difference? Because all are 10 times magnification or all are 42 millimeter objective diameter. So in fact, the twilight factor and brightness, if you go by this, all are the same. But in fact, the picture quality is different. On the Condor series here, we have a fully multi-coated lens and a UR coating on the prism. So already a very good setup for optical performance. To make it even better, we have the Pirsch series here, which has also the fully multi-coated lens and the UR coating on the prism. On top of this, we add a face coating on the prism, which creates a better contrast picture. So you have a bright picture and an even better contrast picture on the Pirsch series. And then we go to the high-end Pirsch ED series. Here we have a dielectric coating on the prism, which we explained. It is a very high-end coating for transfer light through your eyes. So it's very bright. On top, of course, we have also the dielectric coating here to have a more contrast picture. And what is important for the ED, and that's the name say, it's ED glass, we have a very true colorful picture. So you see, these 2 series are very similar in design. but here we have a better optics inside. You can see the difference between the Condor and the Pirsch. It doesn't matter if PhD. We have here an open bridge, which create that the weight of this binocular is more light than a closed bridge binocular. So that's also very important. Not only, of course, sometimes you want to go hiking, you want to carry a binocular, and every gram is important for you. And therefore, sometimes makes sense to go for open bridge binocular. The advantage with the open bridge is that you also can turn around your fingers very nicely and you have a very grippy handling. Here, of course, it's also nice, but it's a different feeling. So, open bridge, sometimes a little bit more easy to carry, more easy to use, more convenient. Of course, all this series are waterproof and they are nitrogen filled. Except the ED binocular here, the Pirsch ED, they are argon filled. Argon is a little bit more thicker gas inside, and you may ask why they use gas inside a binocular. It's quite easy, because if you have no gas inside, probably between temperatures changing, you have a foggy surface on the lens, and then you cannot see a lot. So the gas creates that all the air goes out from the binocular, and we seal it after that, and then you don't have wet air inside your binocular, and it cannot get foggy during temperature changing. So that's important, especially probably you take it out from your bag, from your pouch, and then you want to use it, and then you have a foggy lens. That's not really interesting for you, and therefore we fill it with gas. So that's always starting from Condor series at Bresser and then going up to Pirsch ED. All using this protecting gas, let's say. So all these binoculars waterproof and gas filled. So what else we can say? All coming with a nice pouch. Of course, the Pirsch ED has a slightly more professional pouch coming with a magnet and so on. So take care of this as well when you choose your binocular. What you want to use, how you want to use, and which accessory is important for you. The neck strap, for example, for very, very low-end binoculars in the market, sometimes you get a very, very thin neck strap, which cut your skin, and it's not very easy and nice to wear over hours. With the Bresser binoculars, normally you get a thicker neck strap, which is very important and very convenient to use, especially from Condor to Pirsch ED. So take care of this as well. Check the full package when you choose a binocular for you and what you want to do. So now we was talking about 42 millimeters, so you have a basic overview about the series of Bresser. But sometimes we have special needs, and therefore every series also have different size of binoculars. For example, let's move over here. With the Condor series we have two different sizes, just shown here. We have 42, we have 25, we also have a 50 millimeter and a 56 millimeter. So why we have this different size in every series? It's simply easy because if you want to use it at daytime and you go hiking, probably you want to have a very lightweight binocular. Then you go for a 25 millimeter because the light factor is probably not so interesting for you, because hiking normally you not go in twilight or at night. So choose a binocular which is small, which you can carry easy. Probably you can simply add to your pocket and then you take it out when you need it. The ALLROUND binocular is a 42 millimeter lens. It's between everything. You have a little bit bigger lens, so you can use it longer at daytime into twilight, or into the night. But of course it's not a night vision binocular, it's not a twilight binocular. And then we go into the higher diameters, 50 and 56 millimeter, which are, let's say, similar to this. It's a little bit bigger, you have more to carry, but you also can look longer at twilight or night. So different needs have different binoculars. So now your question maybe is there a round binocular which I can use? It's not easy to say it's a round binocular, but yes, we have a binocular between the different series which you can use for different purpose, and that's a 10x42 or 8x42 binocular. It has a slightly good objective diameter, it's big enough but not too big, and we have a good magnification, 8 times or 10 times. That's up to your decision what you want to use. If you have an 8 times magnification, you have a wider field of view, you see more at one time from right to left. If you want to be closer to your object, and the objects probably are more at one place, more easy to find, then a 10 times magnification can be the good choice for you. But for example, if you have watching birds which are moving fast, or you are in a football stadium, for example, you better choose an 8 times magnification to have a better field of view and a more wide field of view, and you can see more at one shot, let's say. So probably an 8x42 and 10x42 is a round binocular. And if you want to use this as a round binocular, you should also think about, probably it makes sense to have a waterproof binocular, because otherwise it's not a all-round binocular. If you want to go hiking and it's a high humidity and your binocular damaged because it's not waterproof, it's probably not the right choice. Or you use it in rainy seasons, whatever. Then waterproof is a really big advantage for you. So, as we said before, all the Bresser binoculars starting from Condor and Corvette, for example, one series below Condor, starting with waterproof binoculars. So it's not very expensive, but you should choose this for your start. So here we have some spotting scopes for you, which are, of course, a different size as a binocular. But what is the advantage for a spotting scope? We have a very high magnification and a very big objective diameter, normally. Of course, we also have a very small stuff for your pocket, but a spotting scope is very important and very interesting if you want to really look far away. We have 20 to 60 times magnification, where a normal binocular probably ends at 12, 16 times. So here we have very high magnification for a long distance. So if you want to look at very, very long distance, choose a spotting scopes, but never forget, you need a tripod with you, and of course this you have to carry. So if you stand at one place, a spotting scope is probably the right choice if you want to look very far. If you want to be more mobile, then probably you chose a traditional binocular. So, you see, probably the spotting scopes is also very interesting for you. If you have more detailed questions, just let us know. We will answer your questions. Now we talked a lot about traditional binoculars, but of course we also have very special binoculars. Here we have, for example, we have a 7x50 marine binocular, which has a compass on the item, and we can use it for marine purpose. So that's very special for marine. On the other side, that we have is a very, very special binocular. It's a stabilizer binocular. We have here an off and on button, and this stabilizes your picture. So what we talk about is that on high magnification the picture is very shaky when you hold it in your hand. But with this stabilizer, it has magnets inside which gets your prism flying in the binocular. And this creates for a high magnification. It takes out the shake from your hand. And that's very interesting because you can look on a very high magnification without a shaky picture. Very, very interesting when you want to look at very far objects with a binocular. With a normal binocular it's not possible with 60 times because you cannot see a lot of details. But with this stabilizer binocular, yes, you are able to see it. So that's very interesting if you want to look at far objects with a high magnification and still not want to use a tripod, for example. With this 16 by 42 binocular, it's still possible. And of course, everybody wants to know what is going on in the night. But with a night vision binocular, it's possible because you have an infrared light which we're sending out and we're reflecting the infrared light, and then we can create, let's say with not natural light, a bright image. Of course, what we say, all cats and dogs are gray at night, so at the night you see a black-white picture. At daytime, of course, with this device it's colorful picture. But you can see 250 meters approximately at night, when you normally cannot see your hand in front of your face. So have in mind, a normal binocular is not for night using, but then you need to use a really special night vision binocular, and that is what we have here. So for very, very special purpose we have special binoculars, and that's very important to know. So now you got a lot of input from us about binoculars. I hope you understand binoculars now much better. We have different kind of binoculars for you. For every purpose you need, we have the right product. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We are there, we are available for you. Just let us know and we will answer your questions. So thank you very much and have a good time with probably your new Bresser binocular.